Welcome back to another video, guys. Today I have another competition piece. SLEW recently put the call out with the prompt.
And the art prompt is to design your own character and then you come up with a story.
And that is what we're going to be working on today. So I've got a 20 by 20 inch canvas. We're going to be painting in oils. I've got a couple ideas sort of already bouncing around my head. I know that I want it to be sort of Egyptian mythology and history inspired. I've always really loved that aesthetic, and so that is sort of the route I'm going to travel down. And I want to paint a portrait. It's been a while since I painted a portrait, especially in oils, so this is going to be a good excuse to do so. But to start off, we'll jump across to my iPad, we'll come up with a bit of a concept and design, and then from there we'll get stuck into painting. I've been a huge fan of SLEW'S channel over the last year or so. It's been awesome seeing his success and seeing his impact on the community. So yeah, I'm excited to be a part of it all. Let's do it. So this is my concept art that I've created using Procreate and my iPad Pro. Where the design is at currently, overall I'm really happy with it. There's a couple things that I am going to be changing, but I'm just being a bit conscious of how much time I'm spending on it since I actually need to paint it. So as you can see, I nearly spent 11 hours just on this digital version of the design. So instead of wasting too much more time on this, I'm going to edit some things on the canvas on the fly. So her shoulders I want to make a little bit more powerful, and the background I'm really not too sure what I want to do with that yet, but I'm really happy with the facial features and how sort of powerful and tough she looks. She's got this really stern, bold expression. I really want to be careful not to make her look sort of too pretty or cutesy. I wanted this really powerful, strong, stern expression. And yeah, with the headdress, I'm really happy with how that's looking. But as I said, there'll be a couple of minor things that I'll change once we start painting. So we'll jump across the canvas, we'll sketch it in with some grey lead, and we'll go from there. So just working with this 20 by 20 inch canvas, the first thing I'm going to do is just rule out a quick 2 by 2 grid, and that's going to help me map out my concept art. So just roughed in my sketch here using grey lead as per usual. I've just changed up my shoulder orientation a little bit, as I didn't really like the way the shoulders were sitting. As in my concept design, I feel like she was slumped forward a little bit. I sort of wanted a more of a powerful pose, so I'm going to change that on the fly. But blueprints here, we are good to go. I'm going to mix up some paint and we'll get some base layers down. So I've just mixed up some burnt umber and some cad red, and I'm just going to really quickly cover the canvas with a nice light wash, just so I've got a nice base point to start at, and just to get rid of that kind of ugly white canvas. It's a little bit messy in here at the moment, but I've just laid out some colors. I'm just going to quickly flesh out my skin tones. As you just saw, I just quickly blocked in the black sections of the headwear. But in terms of colors at the moment, I've just got Cthulhu blue, yellow ochre, vermilion red, some burnt umber, some black I was using for the headdress, and titanium white. My skin color, I really want it to be nice and warm, so I'm going to use quite a lot of this vermilion and yellow ochre, and we're just going to trial and error with some burnt umber here. We'll cool the shadows off with some blue, and yeah, we'll see how we go. So I'm just coming up finishing my first day on the painting. The last thing I want to get done quickly is just to flesh out the two snakes on the headdress itself, and then I'm going to call it a day. So far I've made some pretty good progress. I feel like my skin tone has really gone quite muddy, so I'm going to let that sort of dry tonight and have a proper crack at it tomorrow. It was always going to sort of be a bit of an underpainting anyway, but I'm not really happy with the skin tones at all currently, so that'll be my main focus tomorrow. But I'm getting most of the painting fleshed out kind of as I go, using Galka's light. So even though I'm painting in oils, tomorrow it should be mostly dry, and yeah, I'll have this sort of more fleshed out and detailed underpainting that I can really start to build on, and I'll see you back tomorrow.
Sometimes that it doesn't make sense. It's even harder to comprehend. It's a long night. Say goodbye, then hello. We came here from nowhere.
So I'm starting to make some pretty good progress on the painting here. I've fleshed out a lot of the sections, and I've started to build up a decent amount of detail throughout the piece. But right now I'm just going to work on these horizontal stripes within the headdress, and to do that I'm actually going to flip the canvas on its side, and then I have to pull only down instead of sideways, and I personally am just a lot more accurate pulling lines straight down as opposed to having to pull it horizontal. So we'll mix up some white paint and we'll smash those out, and then I also want to get started on this little bee emblem at the top, and also just need to decide what I want to do with the background itself. Originally I thought maybe a block color, and then I sort of went for this really washed out, drippy, pulling out different tones from the painting kind of vibe, but I'm unsure. Currently I'm thinking I might go back to a block color just to make the details within the character itself pop a lot more, but I'm still deciding on that at the moment. Alright, so we've got the first line down. I'm going to quickly check that it's actually straight. And yeah, I'm happy with that. It's really important that this first line is straight, because as I make my way up this section of the headpiece, I'm going to use this line as reference to keep my ongoing lines nice and straight. But yeah, looks good. Time to smash the rest out. So just finished off first passes on the stripes there. I'm just going to come over and block out this background. I think what I'm going to go for is this like tangerine, sort of bright orange color, and just work with a block color. I just feel like the background, along with the detail that is in the sort of headdress and the face itself, and the fact that I want to show a lot of strokes in the skin tones and stuff, I just think it's getting a little bit messy, and I'd rather have some contrast between the background and the foreground. And the reason why I'm going for this color is that it's really warm, whereas the key elements in the headdress, so the snakes and the eyeshadow makeup and stuff, is on the cooler side, so it should pop nice and hard. And yeah, well, we're going to do a pass and see how it looks out, but I think this is going to be the move. I was also considering going darker But the headdress again is quite dark, and I think I want to focus more on the contrast, and we'll see if we can bring that out with this color for the background. And there we have it, guys. That brings us to the end of the video. This is my finished entry for SLEW'S competition. Overall, I'm really stoked with the result. I normally wouldn't really step outside of my box and come up with a character design such as this. So yeah, I had heaps of fun with it. I'm still currently just typing out my backstory and coming up with a name for her. So I'll add that in at the end of the video. But if you come across from SLEW'S community, I hope you consider sticking around. Got plenty more content coming up in the future. But for now, I'll leave it there and I'll see you in the next video.